So, number one, goal weight prevention, preventing factor. So, that's this lady right here. If you look at her cheeks, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of swelling right there. So what she did was she actually bought a very cheap pair of sunglasses. And she put them on, and she had a reaction to it. Now the reaction she had was swelling right here. So what is swelling? If we ask the question, what is swelling?
Water retention.
Water retention. So water is drawn to a certain area of the body, right? And if anyone, does anyone have an allergy to shellfish? Has anyone seen what happens to someone when they eat shellfish? Yeah, so it does the water magically, does the body magically produce more water? It does not. It pulls water out of other tissues and draws them into different tissues. So actually, what's funny about that is you might be severely dehydrated, but actually have a lot of water in your system. If that water is being drawn to other tissues in order to try and dilute whatever it is that's in your body. So, if we assume that she had a reaction to that, if we assume that people eat shellfish, they have a reaction to that, and their body swells up to try to dilute the poison that to that particular body. It sees shellfish as poison. So it quickly tries to dilute the poison by putting it into the tissues where it can't affect or shut down the system. We got it? If you got that so far, you're off to a good start. So, here's the sexy way to put it. Ready? The body's solution to pollution is dilution. That's as sexy as it's going to get tonight. It's all downhill from here. So I'm going to talk about a 6-pound bite pizza. So one of my clients who is about to come up on, she's at 193 pounds lost right now. She's about to get 200. It's very exciting. It's taken about 3 years to get there. Over the course of that 3 years, she happened to get pregnant, have a baby, and then also continue to lose the weight while she was pregnant. That was a fun journey. And it's been really fascinating to see her make the change. Now she's down like a size 6. It's crazy. But one of the things that happened was at about 150, I said, okay, Diana, you're starting to get to a point where you're on momentum to reach this goal. But what I don't want to happen is when you reach this goal, that you have an unhealthy relationship with food. Because she had gone from eating all sorts of things that weren't on her plan, weren't on anyone's plan really, in a healthy direction, to all of a sudden saying, okay, I'm going to eat foods that are completely healthy. And I'm going to see these foods as being bad, and these foods as being good. And the trouble with that sort of good, bad, dark side, light side type concept is that when we have that mindset, that when we have these bad foods, it becomes forbidden. Ooh, and let's be naughty together, and I'll order the cheesecake if you'll have some, that kind of thing starts to happen. As opposed to thinking about it as foods that serve us, and foods that don't serve us, okay? So the question becomes, what serves me? Okay? So now, what I might say about the 6-pound bite pizza. So at 150, I said, what do you miss? And she says, there's this one pizza place that's like 30 minutes away. I used to go and I used to love it, and I want to have that again. And I said, okay, here's your challenge. You can go and have one bite of that pizza. One bite. And then you're going to put it down and walk out of the store. And she did it. She walked in, her food plan was perfect that week. She walked in, sat down, told the owner was like, have a free piece of pizza. You've earned it. So she had one bite. Actually, to make it even worse, she didn't want to throw it away, so she actually put it in her car, put it on the seat next to her, and drove her home so her husband could eat the rest, which would be torture in itself. So the smell, right? Yeah. So then she gave it to her husband, and she was like, I did it. Yes. High five. She was super happy. And then 3 days later, she called me, and she's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I just got on the scale and I've gained 6 pounds. So my question to you is this. Here's pop quiz. How many calories is in a pound of fat? Don't know? 3,500 calories is in 1 pound of fat. So if she had gained 6 pounds, let's say that is 7,000, 14,000, 21,000 calories that she would have taken in. Now, all the rest of the food plan was dead on, except that one piece of pizza that she took a bite of. That was not a 21,000 calorie bite. If you've ever tried to eat 21,000 calories, it is a Herculean effort. Trust me, I've tried. So what I'd say is that bite of pizza, the reaction in her body was water retention. And it may, and I can tell you, I happen to have as one of my clients that I see when she's not filming or doing different things, is Dr. Holly from, forgetting, Extreme Weight Loss Makeover. TV show, there's, if you haven't seen it, it's like Biggest Loser competitor, Extreme Weight Loss Makeover. She talks about the majority of weight that the competitors lose in the first few weeks is actually not mostly fat. It's mostly water weight. Which is why when we watch these TV shows, to ask you a question, if you knew you were going on a TV show that was all about weight loss, the day before you went on the TV show, would you be like, oh, I should probably not go crazy right now? No, you'd be like, I'm going to win that damn thing. Quick, give me all the things I can possibly eat. Give me some bricks to swallow so I can really weigh myself down. So that way I can come in the show weighing as much as possible. Then they do their show, then they lose their weight, and in the first few weeks. The hard part I have with that, ethically, is that America watches. America sees and they go, oh, they lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. I can do that. And then we all of a sudden, in our real lives with jobs, and without like an army of trainers and medical professionals and someone cracking the whip 6 hours a day saying, you don't have to work, just live on this treadmill, we'll change you to it, you'll be there 6 hours, then you can go back to your room and we'll slide a piece of lean turkey under the door, you need that, right? And no one's going to know if you threw it up afterwards, unfortunately. Yeah, so 6 pound bite of pizza. So, now what I'll say is this is, we all have variability in our sensitivity. And that actually changes as you lose weight. Because we all have that friend who's skinny that stays skinny. Right? So here's the key thing. If you're having a day where you are completely overwhelmed and everything's terrible, and you've been yelled at, the dog beats you on the way out the door, you had a car accident on the way in, you get into work, someone goes like, oh hey, did you see the game last night? And you're like, no, I don't care about football, get out of my face, try and do my job, right? You react, right? Same thing happens with our body, right? If our body is in a state of distress, if our body has all sorts of pollution happening, and it's swollen, and our energy is low, we're eating things that have inflamed our intestinal lining, and all of a sudden I eat something else and the body goes, oh, what? As opposed to, if everything else is going well, and we're lean and we're operating, we're like a clear stream, as opposed to a stagnant pond, and you throw something in a clear stream, disappears, right? In a well-running river, it's out the door. Part of what's fascinating to me with clients, when they start a fitness journey, is that in that fitness journey, what happens is, in the first few weeks, they're often really overwhelmed. And they say, I didn't realize I was this out of shape. And what I tell them is, it's not that you're necessarily out of shape, but when you feel that feelings of dizziness, of like a little bit woozy, and early in the workout, what you're actually experiencing is your body's creating waste products as an off gas of your, just like a car creating exhaust fumes, your body's creating waste products that doesn't know how to get rid of them. It doesn't yet have the output or the recycling part. So therefore what's happening is you're creating these waste products and you're going, whoa, I feel terrible. But really what's happening is your body just creates it, doesn't know how to get rid of it. And that's one of the first things your body learns when it starts working out. So then all of a sudden, we get fitter, we get more in shape, and the body gets better at recycling things, moving them, distributing them away, quickly making sure that we don't get that overwhelmed feeling, so we don't have the waste products dump into our stomach lining gets irritated, and then we throw up. Okay? So, go back to here. The variability and sensitivity. So, if someone is way overweight, what I'll tell you is this. The leaner you get, the easier it gets, the less sensitive you become. Weight, so your weight can be a variation. DNA. Some people, I've had some clients who basically, if they so much as smell of something that has soy, they feel dizzy, they have to sit down. We probably all have that friend who, if they drink something that has artificial sweetener in it, that artificial sweetener, have a reaction, whoo, they're out. Let me say this real quick on artificial sweeteners. For a long time, I've been very anti-artificial sweetener. I'm going to change that stance due to recent research. And what I'm going to say is actually artificial sweetener depends upon the individual, and it's worth trying. Okay, so if you're anti Diet Coke, I'd say don't worry about it. Have the Diet Coke and see how it affects you. The only piece I'll say is this: is that with my clients, I try to teach them to have a savoury palate, not a sweet palate. And by that I mean, if I'm always eating artificial sweeteners, I'm always putting Splenda in my coffee, then at some point in time, someone's going to say, hey, have something that's sweet. And I'm going to say, well, you know, I have been doing this, and I did eat my 12 hours, and it is the weekend, so yes, I'll have something sweet. Now, if you've ever gone, you know, sort of on a camping trip or something like that, where you have 2-3 weeks without something sweet, and then when you get back to civilization, someone hands you a Coke, and you're like, ah, yeah. You're like, whoa, this is so sweet. We've all been there. But 2 or 3 sips in, your brain's like, oh, recalibrating. Yes, give it to me, right? All of a sudden it's not as sweet, we can totally drink it. What I say is that. Train your brain to be savory, and then when someone does offer you something sweet, you'll realize how much sugar is actually in there. So that's something that has to do with willpower, which I'll talk about a bit later. So wait, your DNA has a factor. You might not be that sensitive, you might be super sensitive. What I'll say is that if you can remove the foods that likely pollute your body, then you'll be doing well. History. If I've constantly been doing all sorts of things horrible in my body, then it's going to take me a while for things to rebuild, okay? If I've been doing things great, my body's very thankful, my digestive system works great. If I eat something that's off the plan, I might feel crappy for a few hours, but then I'm back up and at it. Same thing with exercise. If I haven't been exercising, all of a sudden someone says, hey, help me move house. I do the next day, oh man, I'm done for days, right? However, if I'm active, I'm doing things, I'm working out, I'm training functionally, then someone says, hey, help me move house, maybe for a couple of hours, I'm a little tired, but then I'm back at it. See the analogy? Okay. Common inflammatories. Let's go with 4 top inflammatories. Wheat, gluten, dairy products, sugar, and soy. Okay? So let's talk about that. So wheat and gluten. Basically what I'll say is that up until, there's a really fascinating book called The Blood Type Diet. And it's not necessarily one that I really agree with fully, but at the start of the book it explains how gluten actually came to us. And about, you know, depending on what you believe. Let's go with the theory that we've existed over many, and evolved over many millions of years. And it's really only the last second of a 24-hour clock that we've actually realized how to make fields. Up until then, any wheat that we found was usually in corners where the wind hadn't blown it away. So we had like small amounts of wheat that we could make teeny tiny things into and mix it with other foods to make something significant. It was only about 10,000 years ago that we actually learned how to make crops. And actually, if you look at the way we evolved, about 20,000 years ago, there was only type O blood type, and then about 20,000 years ago, we developed type B, and then 10,000 years ago, type A, and only 1,000 years ago, type AB negative. That's it, just a fun bit of trivia for you, just to give you an idea of how we're changing. However, I know, right? So much knowledge in here. So common inflammatories. So let's say gluten. Gluten isn't something that we're used to eating, and plus in the last 40 years, if you're watching any of the DVDs that are out there about the different sort of GMOs, things like that, I'm not going to take a position on GMOs. All I'm going to say is that what we eat now, there's 2 or 3 common strains of wheat that are present in 99% of the foods that are sold in the US of A. The funny thing is, my clients who are often gluten intolerant can travel overseas to places like Europe and eat foods like gluten and not have a reaction. Yeah, so let's just say that there's something different happening. What it is, I don't want to try and put my finger on. All I'll say is, when I tell someone not to eat gluten, then if you said, Jamie, I'm getting ready for a wedding, I've got 2 weeks, I would say no gluten, no dairy, no sugar. That right there is usually good for about 5 pounds. Okay? And now, here's the other sort of sneaky piece to it, is you actually get a lot of blood sugar jumping when you eat gluten. Because generally speaking, gluten, it has a very high sugar content and it's absorbed quickly into the body. It causes that blood sugar to go all over the place. I'll talk about that in a second. Milk is the same. Milk and milk products. Here's a fun question. So we all know we're supposed to drink, it's supposed to get our calcium in, right? So somehow we've all forgotten that we can get it from a pill. and it actually exists in lots of vegetables. However, let's say for a second that we do need 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day, okay? So that's 3 glasses of milk. So here's a question for you. If we want to get lean and sexy, right, and not large and husky, let's look what nature does. If I'm a mother cow, I go, well, I want my babies to be lean and sexy, so they should drink milk, right? No. What is the purpose of milk for baby cows? Right? Beef them up, right? Let's get them nice and fat, ready for the harvest, right? Ready for the meat harvest. So what I'd say is, if you want to get lean, remove dairy from what you're putting in your diet. And then sometimes people say, but like, you know, that doesn't work for me. And I say, well, I'll tell you what. You can have all the dairy and dairy products you want if you can name me an animal that drinks milk after the age of 6 months. And you would say, humans. Okay? It's not even our milk. Sweet. So, and you know, of course, cows also have this thing called 4 stomachs. So it's a little bit different kind of food. So, common things. Soy. Soy is something that is a phytoestrogen. And what I mean by that is it's sort of a fake estrogen. What's really fascinating to me, I was lucky enough to live in Japan for 3 years. My head still has the scars from the experience of reading doorways and standing in the train. I have some chiropractic work that still needs to be done from the trains. You think I'm joking, but this is legitimately me. People would say, it's great, you can see everyone on the train. And I'll say, yeah, they're all staring at me. And I'm like, is that guy going to leave like a mark on the ceiling? So I would, but what I really noticed was that soy is not something that is served in large quantities in Japan. Soy is kind of like a side dish. It'd be kind of like us saying, like it's in America, them saying, oh, Americans eat baked beans. You know, like when you go to a barbecue joint, or just in Kansas City on the weekend, like they serve like everyone has like barbecue baked beans on the side, right? It'd be the equivalent of it in Japan, them saying, oh, America, they had baked beans, and they had big pots of baked beans, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we're like Americans now, right? Everyone all of a sudden said, well, that's not fun. I know, right? Mom, I can't talk to you right now. Okay. So yeah. Live again. Here we go. Sweet. See how calm I was then? Totally calm, right? Sweet. So soy, phytoestrogen. It's a fake. So know that in Japanese culture, soy is actually something that's eaten as a side dish, and I never saw soy milk being sold. So what I'd say is soy milk or soy juice, as the milk dairy farmers would like you to call it, because it's not really milk. There's no soy cow. Soy milk as it is. Almond milk and coconut milk and hemp milk are my preferred sources. If you did want to use some sort of milk product for that, you can actually get calcium fortified versions of that as well, if it needs calcium. Soy is something that I don't recommend, mostly because for women especially, that hormone profile is a very delicate thing. The more we mess with it, the more likely we are to start to retain weight. Okay? Speaking to the ladies in the audience, we probably have a friend, or maybe we've experienced personally, when you take birth control, different forms of birth control can play havoc on the weight. Right? Sometimes people say, when I got off that birth control and got on a different one, I lost 20 pounds right away. Okay? It's all up to where you guys are at. Oh, by the way, yeah, if anyone needs to use the bathroom, the code for the bathroom is just above the laptop, on a piece of paper just above there. So, calcium source, sorry, guys, we'll talk about that. Fiber benefits, so now let's say, and then sugar, of course. Sugar has a lot to do with insulin variation. I'll get to that in just a second. Fiber benefits and sources. So now you might say, Jamie, I need bread because bread is a great source of fiber. I would say, so are vegetables and also fruits. I'm not a huge fan of fruits. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I'd say is, if you want to get that into you, then I'd say there's plenty better ways to get it into you than bread. Again, bread, gluten, huge blood sugar spike. Milk, same thing, huge blood sugar spike. Water intake and use. Let's talk about that for a second. So when we talk about water intake, we talk about the pollution and reducing that. Here's an interesting question. We've been told drink 8 glasses of water a day, right? So here's my question. Should a tiny thing like Cara drink the same amount of water as me? You might say maybe, or no, so let's say no. Let's say I need more than you. Let's say I have a lot more operations going on, okay, in my 250-pound self. And also, let's say that if I'm active, and you are not, let's say you're probably more active than I am. But let's say that one person who's active sweats out a lot, especially in Kansas City where I just was. Woo, let me tell you about it. So what I'd say is this, actually what you want to do is you want to be taking 1 ounce per pound of lean body weight, okay? So that's lean body weight. So let's say if you are 50% body fat, you weigh 300 pounds, you want 150 ounces. Now, if you want to drink that all at once, or over the course of the day, it doesn't matter. Research shows that actually it's just fine.